This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. Thank you for listening. Well, folks, the news from City Hall continues to be nothing short of a disaster. The latest, Deputy Mayor Philip Banks is out the door following his brother, Schools Chancellor David Banks, who also resigned recently. This should come as no surprise to anyone paying attention. Let's start with the obvious. Eric Adams never should have hired someone as shady as Phil Banks in the first place, let alone given him such a powerful role as basically the super police commissioner and super fire commissioner. The deputy mayor of public safety, a position we never even had before. Banks was already an unindicted co-conspirator in a separate bribery scheme when Adams brought him on board in 2022. Yet Adams still handed him one of the most influential positions in the city, a move that raised eyebrows from the beginning. And now it's becoming clear that Governor Kathy Hochul is likely pulling the strings here, ordering Adams to clean house as a condition of not removing him from office. The message seems to be, if you want to stay, you need to get rid of everyone embroiled in trouble. Ironically, this could end up giving us one of the most qualified and least corrupt administrations we've seen in a long time, as all the problematic players, as all the brothers of problematic players, as all the people sleeping with problematic players get swept out the door. But Banks didn't go quietly or professionally either. Instead of answering basic questions about the federal raid on his home, he decided to mock a reporter. When Kate Honan from the city tried to do her job and ask him what was going on a week or two ago, he made a nasty remark about her breath. "It's your breath, Katie," he said, instead of addressing the real issue, why federal agents were searching his home. That kind of behavior is not just unprofessional, it's insulting to the public and a distraction from the serious allegations swirling around him. As we've seen with the resignation of NYPD Commissioner Edward Caban, Chief Counsel Lisa Zornberg, Health Commissioner Ashwin Vasan, Senior Advisor Tim Pearson, and now both Banks brothers, this is just the beginning. First Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright is expected to step down soon as well. The exodus at City Hall is only going to continue, and don't be surprised if we see even more resignations in the coming days, possibly as soon as today. And here's something else to watch out for. I'm hearing rumblings that a new indictment will be coming out of the Eastern District in the coming weeks. There's a good chance more charges are on the way, not just against other officials, but potentially a superseding indictment against Adams himself. The scandal involving bribery, wire fraud, and his alleged dealings with the Turkish government is far from over. It's a sad and messy chapter for this administration, but at this rate, it seems the stench Banks mocked was coming from within. City Hall needs to do a lot more than just clean house. It needs a complete reset.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
If you're having problems with your septic system and you're tired of spending so much money each year to have it pumped, then SeptiClean is the answer for you. SeptiClean is an advanced specially formulated blend of bacteria used in the treatment of home and commercial septic systems. The breakdown of waste in your system relies on biological activity of naturally occurring bacteria. SeptiClean restores the natural biological process in your septic system and boosts the existing biological activity. SeptiClean is completely safe on all plumbing and can help prevent expensive emergencies in pumping. SeptiClean has approximately 6 to 100 times the bacteria count of other leading off-the-shelf brands in a 1-year supply. SeptiClean comes in a water-soluble pack, which you flush down the toilet once a month with no mess or stress. Save time, money, and maintenance on your septic system. Find SeptiClean at Emporium True Value Hardware on Main Street in Sag Harbor or visit micro-tab.com. That's micro-tabb.com. Micro-tabb.com. The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good Morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. Well, Sunday night's New Jersey U.S. Senate debate started off with a pretty shocking moment, which was followed by a very welcome display of humanity. Just as he was talking about dealing with affordability in a sensible way, the Republican nominee, Curtis Bashaw, seized up and leaned into his podium. And honestly, it looked pretty frightening, and it didn't sound great. And just a few seconds later, a concerned Andy Kim, the Democratic candidate, approached Bashaw and asked, "Are you okay?" Bashaw indicated he was. Kim returned to the podium and, from what we can tell from the video feed, suggested that they pause, meaning Andy Kim suggested that they take a break. They took a short break, and Bashaw came back. Here's the initial freeze-up by Curtis Bashaw, and you could hear Andy Kim asking if he's okay, and you could even hear a little bit of him whispering, it's mostly off-screen, that they should take a break.
No, I'm a businessman that's created jobs, 1,000 jobs over the last 35 years. And I think that we need to make sure that we are dealing with affordability in a sensible way.
You okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to?
I think maybe we need to take a commercial break and address some issues here on the stage. Stay with us.
Now, Bashaw, who I hope is okay because I've met him and he's a great guy, and he owns one of my favorite hotels in the world, the Congress Hall Hotel. But even if he didn't own it, he's just a nice guy that I've gotten to meet a few times, and I would hate to think he's dealing with any sort of health issue. But when they come back from break, Curtis Bashaw has a great line in order to help him recover from this.
Thank you, David, for the question, and it's good to be here. I got so worked up about this affordability issue that I realized I hadn't eaten so much food today, so I appreciate your indulgence.
And the rest of the debate was pretty good. I think this is probably going to reinforce Andy Kim's reputation as a nice guy, which we've seen a great deal of in Washington. Remember when he was cleaning up at the U.S. Capitol after the January 6th rioters basically trashed the place? He was very quietly just cleaning up on his own, and there were those photos of him doing that went viral. He didn't send them out. There wasn't a big press release. He just kind of did his thing. It was nice to see in this volatile environment that we live in that two people running against one another can actually act like human beings. Let's see more of it.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Have you ever wondered if there's money out there just waiting for you? I have, and let me tell you, researching unclaimed funds has become a bit of a hobby of mine. I've done it for everyone here at the radio station and gotten them a lot of money. I've done this for my neighbors, my in-laws, everybody. I can't tell you how many times I've typed my name into the New York State Comptroller's website, hoping to find a little forgotten treasure, and I bet a lot of you have done the same thing. But here's the kicker. The process could soon get a whole lot easier, and I'm all for it. There's a bill awaiting Governor Hochul's signature that could make it much faster for New Yorkers to get their hands on unclaimed funds. And guess what? State Comptroller Thomas DiNapoli, who's in charge of tracking down and holding these funds, is all in favor of it. His office is sitting on about $19 billion. Yes, billion. In unclaimed money. This money comes from things like abandoned bank accounts, insurance payouts, old utility refunds, even expired gift cards. It's all sitting there, waiting for people to claim it. But as you might expect, the process isn't always quick or simple. Right now, you have to go on the controller's website, search your name, and then go through the verification process. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, it turns out that even with $1.5 million in unclaimed funds being returned to people every day, only about 41% of those funds find their rightful owners. Compare that to other states where return rates are as high as 80 to 90%, and it's clear New York could be doing better. Enter this new bill, which would allow DiNapoli's office to automatically send you money if the amount is under $250 and they're able to verify that you're the rightful owner. That means no more digging through old addresses or sending in online documentation for small amounts, just an expedited process to get you your money. No fuss. Now, I don't know about you, but I think this is a fantastic idea. It's worked well in other states, and it's a great way to cut through the bureaucratic red tape that often holds up these funds. And don't worry, DiNapoli says his office is ready to handle the increased workload. Imagine how much good could come from freeing up even a fraction of that $19 billion. Families and individuals could really use that extra cash for anything from paying bills to treating themselves to something nice. And let's face it, who wouldn't want to suddenly find out that they've got a check coming their way? While the new process will only apply to claims created after January 1st, DiNapoli is hopeful that if this works well, they could expand the program to larger amounts of money and even make it retroactive. Who knows? Maybe one day they'll be sending out automatic checks for much more than $250. But let's take it one step at a time. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check if you're owed anything, and hopefully soon, with Governor Hochul's signature, you won't have to search quite as often because that money might just find you.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
The other day, I'm walking down the street with my son, and a fella stops me. It turns out his name's Richie. I'd never met him before, but he was a nice guy and apparently listens to the show. And he said to me, "Hey, Frank, what about the propositions? What do they mean? How should I vote?" And it turns out another nice lady wrote to me asking my opinion on the propositions. So there are 6 of them. There's really one significant one. The others are sort of not significant. So I thought what might be interesting to do is go through one of these a day until I've explained all 6. I'll give you my opinion as to how I'm voting, but I really want to just explain them so that you understand them. So let's begin with Prop 1. New Yorkers are going to be asked to vote on Proposition 1, which is a state proposal. It's a proposal to amend the state's constitution by expanding its non-discrimination clause. On the surface, this may sound like a good thing, but I think there are serious reasons to be cautious about it. So Prop 1 aims to add new categories of protection to New York's constitution, including sexual orientation, gender identity, pregnancy outcomes, and more. Supporters argue that expanding the list of protected classes will ensure broader civil rights protections and prevent discrimination based on these characteristics. They also claim that it will strengthen New York's progressive values and safeguard reproductive rights. They're actually calling it the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment. However, there are significant problems with this proposition. First, it doesn't actually create any new rights or protections that don't already exist in New York law. Civil rights laws in the state already cover most of the groups mentioned in Prop 1. This amendment won't change that or secure any additional rights. Second, and more concerning as far as I'm concerned, is the vague language in Prop 1 that could throw the state's legal system into chaos. By elevating almost every group to protected status, this proposal could open the door to endless legal challenges. For instance, conflicts between religious beliefs and gender identity protections could force the courts to make value judgments on civil rights cases, which should really be handled by the legislature. This would hand more power to judges instead of elected lawmakers, leading to unpredictable and potentially contradictory rulings. In essence, Prop 1 creates a legal mess without solving any real issues. It invites confusion and opens the floodgates for lawsuits that will be hard to resolve because of the broad and vague categories involved. This could lead to civil rights conflicts and pit different groups against each other, leaving courts to make subjective decisions that should be decided by the people's representatives. Ultimately, while the sentiment behind Prop 1 is admirable, it doesn't add new protections, and the risks of legal uncertainty and judicial overreach are way too great. And for these reasons, I'll be voting no. Whatever you vote on it, at least know what you're voting on.
Beam me up.
To be continued.
If you're having problems with your septic system and you're tired of spending so much money each year to have it pumped, then SeptiClean is the answer for you. SeptiClean is an advanced specially formulated blend of bacteria used in the treatment of home and commercial septic systems. The breakdown of waste in your system relies on biological activity of naturally occurring bacteria. SeptiClean restores the natural biological process in your septic system and boosts the existing biological activity. SeptiClean is completely safe on all plumbing and can help prevent expensive emergencies in pumping. SeptiClean has approximately 6 to 100 times the bacteria count of other leading off-the-shelf brands in a 1-year supply. SeptiClean comes in a water-soluble pack, which you flush down the toilet once a month with no mess or stress. Save time, money, and maintenance on your septic system. Find SeptiClean at Emporium True Value Hardware on Main Street in Sag Harbor or visit micro-tab.com. That's micro-tabb.com. Micro-tabb.com.